if one of my videos ever get out, like to a lot of viewers, I would think that I would like to send this one out to the rich people, to be specific, to the rich blacks in America or even all across the world. But I was focused on the ones in America. And the one thing that I did see that was a positive thing is when Oprah opened her schools and did some things in Africa. But I haven't seen much going on in the United States. And to be honest with you, I do understand why and a lot of the reasons, but I wanted to cover some of that today. Uh, the rich people know that if they use their money to build training centers to train a lot of people to do, specific jobs, that then where are they going to get the jobs from once they learn all the training? And so they would have to create factories or businesses that could hire a lot of people, whereas all the red tape's going to come in and stuff like that. So most of them tend not to do that kind of thing because I was asking myself, why can't the rich blacks get together, buy property, build towns, and do things? But we all know what has happened in the past when they do that. So I got to admit that they should learn from the lessons of the past. It seems like everybody's just in their own survival mode now. And the reason I picked the black rich people was because I feel that they're falling into the same capitalist system syndrome that all rich people do. And that is make money, 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 money. Okay. When you don't have any money like me, if you had a million or two, you can make that last a lifetime and do a lot of positive things, even if you had to do it within one community or one city. You could get some things done if you wanted to do that. But one of the things that I noticed that the youngsters have turned to is the drugs. It's always been like that. The youngsters wanted to make money. Nobody's giving them jobs. Nobody's giving them jobs and nobody's training them. And it's even more complex than that because half of the kids can't even read. So I understand that. And the younger generation just above them can't read either. And so it's all a big complex ball. You would have to fight crime. You've had to fight vandalism. You have to protect the property and the businesses. You'd have to create employment. And then you have to worry about who's illegal and who's not. And so a lot of, I was thinking about the rich black people because so many youth have been constantly going to jail in my lifetime and ruining their lives. And now we've gotten to a point where most of the prisons are for profit. So the main goal for them is to lock people up or they can't make any money. And so they have the law enforcement locking people up. And judges just throwing them and filling out. And right now they've been building so many that you can see that with all the factories they were building across America, you can see that they're big enough to hold people and could be easily converted into a complex to hold people without a tent. They could use the factories that's already up. And because they put up so many giant uh, what would you call those buildings? So many giant warehouses. Yeah, warehouses. That's what it is. So they want to lock up. It seems like I'm jumping all over the place here. Hold up. I'll go to youth in jail. Our youth have been getting locked up as far back as I can remember. And nothing has changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. It's developed and changed, but it's the same old thing. And the people are not getting ahead, stress here, stress there. The young ones have much more stress than we had, and they don't see the options that they have in America as far as jobs, housing, cars, basic living and lifestyle. They can't even have the basics, so they have to turn to crime. And it's interesting. There's money for guns to be flowed into the communities. There's money for drugs to be flowed into the community, but there's no money to help people, housing, nothing like that. Only things that are going to take money out of the community. And it benefits them if the community shoots each other up, because then they can lock them up and still make money in the prison system. All that didn't die, they can make profit off of those getting locked up. So what do they want? Basically, the youngsters just want to make a living, earn some money. All of them didn't come up saying, yeah, I'm going to be a criminal and stuff like that. And they didn't want to be a criminal, but they said, man, if I sell this weed over here, or if I do this or these pills, or get with this gang and do this, I can make money. Now, most of them turn out to be wrapped up in the whirlwind of the game, but their intent was, I'm going to help my mom, I'm going to help my family, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But they wind up drinking, smoking, gambling, womanizing, and going to jail and shooting people, and just so much that nobody wants to tackle these problems because the numbers are big, that it would take a concerted, cooperative effort across the nation to really make a difference or a dent. So you have to ask yourself, what's available to them? What's available to the youth today? Ask yourself, answer the question yourself. And I hope your answer isn't they should go out and get a job. Let's say they could go out and get a job. Okay, what jobs are not laying off? What job is going to pay you enough to pay your rent, pay your electric bill, buy your gas for the vehicle, for the vehicle, pay your taxes, the list goes on and on. Buy food, buy clothing. How much are they paying you an hour? $7.25? What the landlord wants, a fortune. Okay, greed is overtaking everything. And I guess when I was opening up with the rich blacks, I wanted them to know that they seem to be going that same road, to whereas there's more of us that, not us as in I have money, us is in my color. There's more of us that seem to say that this isn't enough. I haven't made enough. I haven't made enough. Instead of them retiring after so many millions or billions, they keep going. They keep more. What are you doing with all this money? You made more than you could spend in a lifetime, I'm sure somebody can figure out how to waste it all, but gamble it all, for example. But the people with finances, they can't take on the problems of society because it's so hard, and I understand why they don't want to. But what's available to the youth. I could just jump all over the place. That's why I keep hesitating and stalling, because there's so much to say about them. But if you just ask yourself, what is available to the younger people today? So if you needed an age group, I'm going to give you 35. From age 35 to 10 years old, what's available to them? Unless their family already has money, those don't count. I'm talking about the families and the single parent families and the public school people. I'm like, what's available to their kids? And 9 times out of 10 is nothing. And the situations in the ghetto or lower income parts of town is nobody has a way out. Nobody has jobs. Nobody's safe, And if you get a little something, they're going to break in and try to take that. So you need to hide. If you're getting a little head, you would have to hide that until you're able to move out of the area or something like that. But when do the rich people have enough? I say I understand all the problems and issues that come along with trying to help people. So you could take 2 or 3 black rich people, pick a town. Now I'm sure it's people doing stuff, because I know that Deion Sanders got to be doing stuff, and just not everybody, but I'm saying the majority. They're just making millions and millions and millions. I don't get millions just for making the picture. Don't even talk about waiting on your profits to come in, off sales. So when do you have enough so that you can slow down and stop and say, I'm going to retire? When are you going to stop signing the contracts? Or is that your life? Make as much as you can for as long as you can. Maybe that's it. But a few rich people could take one town at a time, is what my point was. If that's what it takes. Now, 3 billionaires, or got hundreds of millions, they could make one town their project, and where they could tell them what kind of business, set it up or something, and make a profit at it. Figure out a business that you can make a profit from, since you want to make money instead of just making movies, records. Do kind of business in the black community that would give some of them a step up. And I still understand that they're going to want to break in your factory, and just so much that come with it, that in a way I do understand. But I would like you all to know that the young people don't have no options, and so you can't expect them to stay in line, be satisfied, be quiet, act right, be polite, stuff like that. They're really frustrated, and they seen what their parents have went through, and they see what people are still going through, and they see what they learned in school, and they see that there's no application for it out here in the real world. And then they see that the college students can't get jobs, and they see that all of the educated people are in debt. Debt, not death. They're all in debt. And so they don't see any options. And to be honest with you, I don't see any options that they have either. Deuces.